What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we are going to be talking about how steroids are a trap for men. Now, this is a very difficult topic for me to discuss because, number one, I love bodybuilding. I have a massive passion for the sport of bodybuilding, and I myself am a natural bodybuilder. And I have a lot of friends that take steroids. I have a lot of friends that compete that are bodybuilders, not natural bodybuilders. And a lot of people don't even believe me when I say that I'm natural. And people don't think that a lot of my clients are natural as well, even though they are. It goes to show just how far the natural physique can go. And yet most people don't get there. Because one of two reasons. They're either not consistent, number one. They don't put in the time that it takes. It's taken me 8, almost 9 years of lifting and being on point nutritionally to get to the physique that I currently have. So most people either aren't consistent, so they will never see the potential that their natural physique has. But then a lot of other men fall into the trap that is taking steroids, taking drugs. Now, in today's society, steroids are being glorified and they are being worshipped. Now more than ever. It used to be a lot more taboo. Now it's very, very normalized. It is very, very common to go to your gym, and a large percentage of the guys have probably taken something or probably are taking something. And this ultimately is because of the sport of bodybuilding and how it's become a lot more popular, a lot more prominent, as well as the rise of influencers such as Togi, influencers like Chris Bumstead, influencers like Sam Solik, who may even never talk about gear usage, but at the same time, they are trying to become the biggest human that they possibly can be, which entails blasting a lot of gear. So it's not uncommon for me to run into 16 to 22-year-old men, yeah, even as young as 16 years old, men that are taking gear. Because I personally post on social media, I'm a natural bodybuilder, I'm a fitness influencer, I talk about this subject often, I'm in that circle, and so I see just how common it has become with younger men. And I am going to explain the reason why I think that steroids and PEDs are a trap, and I'm ultimately going to be talking about my personal experience as well, and how I am incredibly thankful that I never took steroids, even though I was incredibly tempted to do so. And I'm also going to talk about why I think that you should avoid them yourself, you watching this video. Hopefully this video finds you if you are in the middle of making a decision or before you have made a decision, so that you can keep all of these things in mind. Hopefully I have not found you too late. But I have spent the past 6 to 7 years posting on social media, talking about natural bodybuilding and encouraging people to take up that route. So like I said, hopefully this video has found you in time. Now, things that you need to understand. Let's get into point number one. You need to understand that I am not trying to virtue signal in this video. I am not trying to claim the moral high ground. You need to understand that my goal is to convince you. I'm not trying to convince myself, I'm trying to convince you, and that means that in this video, I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm not trying to make you angry. I need you to understand that I have pure intentions. I'm not trying to make you feel bad if you have taken steroids in the past. I'm not trying to put those people lower. I am trying to argue this from a logical perspective, and I think that I have an incredibly valuable perspective being a natural bodybuilder who is also a fitness influencer. Because I am surrounded by people on gear. Ever since I was 18, 19 years old, I have had friends, I have had roommates, I have had so many people around me go down this path. I have watched them, I have decided to stay natural myself, and I personally hang out with some of the best bodybuilders in the world. This past weekend, I was at a party with Ronnie Coleman, Noel Dizel, a bunch of famous fitness influencers, bodybuilders that took gear for years and who are open about it, who have talked about it on social media. So I've seen these people. I've talked to these people. Number two, I want you to understand that I strongly considered taking steroids at a young age. So I've been in your shoes before. If you are somebody that is thinking about doing it, if you are somebody who is considering it, know that I just haven't been this fervent natty my entire life. There was a period of time for years where I was teetering on the edge. I was about to take the jump, but I never did it. And it's not because I'm scared of needles. No, that's not it at all. I'm not, okay? That's not the reason. There are a lot more reasons that go into it, and I'm going to talk about it more in this video. People told me a couple things. This gives you an idea for the kind of people that I've been around my entire life. I've had people say to me, you will regret staying natty. You're wasting your years when you could be building up this muscle at a younger age. I've had people tell me a day natty is a day wasted. They perpetuate this idea that if you take gear, you will become like this superhuman. And you feel amazing, bro. I feel so good, trust me. Like Togi has even said that to me multiple times. He's come over to my house. He's told me how good he feels when he takes gear. I've made multiple podcasts with him. These people love to talk about all of the benefits of gear and how it's so awesome, but they don't talk about the negative effects, all right? I am so glad that I never did anything for multiple different reasons. And ultimately, my story is very, very crucial because it's counter-narrative. It's counter to this glorification of steroids that is happening. I'm a definition of somebody who has not taken them and yet is very, very thankful that I never took them. There are very, very few people that will actually take steroids and then come back around years and years later and talk about whether or not they think it was actually a good idea. Number three, you need to understand the mental effects of taking steroids. Fitness influencers and bodybuilders drop like flies. It's not mainly because of the physical effects, what we'll get into. It's mainly because of the mental effects. I'm telling you guys, I have watched so many fitness influencers and bodybuilders come into the scene, start posting, putting on a ton of muscle, getting jacked, and then they disappear off of the face of the planet. It's almost always because of the mental effects. There are some dark things that don't get talked about when it comes to the mental effects of steroids. A lot of them you never hear about again. These people drop off the face of the planet, and these bad stories, these horrendous stories remain untold because very, very few people who abuse drugs come back around to critique their past decisions. Why? Well, it's because they're embarrassed. Because as you start to grow up, you start to realize, oh my gosh, I was addicted to drugs. I was glorifying drugs. Let's just not talk about that phase of my life. A lot of people don't like to go back and admit this because it makes them look bad. But a lot of people know exactly what they would do if they could go back in time. And they wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take the drugs. The majority of people that I talk to that have taken drugs that were even super pro-anabolic steroids in the past switch up. As they get older, as they mature, they look back on it and they say, yeah, I really, really wish that I didn't do that. All right? They don't want to tell the truth, a lot of them, at least not publicly. They don't want to tell the truth about how steroids make you erratic. Steroids make you more emotional. Steroids make you overly aggressive. And I'm really going to hammer down on this point right here, which is the dosage makes the poison. Testosterone is an amazing hormone, and your body naturally produces a good amount of it, a healthy amount of it. If your body is optimally functioning, you should have plenty of testosterone. But if you do too much, you are going to end up with terrible side effects. It's not just this wonder drug where you can take a bunch of it and you just start feeling better and better and better. Too much testosterone actually aromatizes into estrogen. It's why you see these fully grown men walking around super jacked with tits. They've got massive puffy nipples because their estrogen is high. They've developed something called gynecomastia, literal breast tissue. It's turning them into a woman. And you can say, oh, well, you can just control your estrogen with this and this drug. Yes, that is true. And there's a much safer way to do steroids. But just think about what you're doing with your body. You're pushing it to a point where it was never supposed to go. Ever. And so when you combine these things, what you get is you get the emotional instability of a woman, so the high estrogen effects, with the strength, the aggression of a man. Heightened aggression, heightened strength with emotional instability. How terrible of a concoction is that? Like a fucking flaming shit cocktail. I personally have watched men coming off of gear completely destroy their entire lives. What do I mean by this? Well, they go into a state of depression when they come off of gear. They're trying to get their natural testosterone production back. They're cutting off everything. I have watched these men turn into lazy pieces of shit that can't even get up for work in the morning because their balls don't work anymore. They go from being on top of the world and being like, dude, I feel so good. But we'll talk a little bit more about how they actually feel later in this video. They say, oh, I feel so good. I feel so aggressive. I'm benching so much. And then they come off and they're nothing. They're like a shell of their former self. Before they even started the drugs, they were operating on a way higher level. A lot of men will just completely stop working out altogether when they come off the drugs and they run into these mental issues, or if they run into mental issues even while they're still on the drugs. And so that circles around to number 4. What you need to understand is that it's a hidden addiction, okay? And it's a hidden addiction that is so dangerous because it's masked as hard work and consistency and discipline, bro. It's all about how hard I'm working. I'm working so much harder than you, bro. I'm going to be the hardest guy in the room. It's a masquerade. It's a facade. It's a fugazi. The one case where PEDs are justifiable, in my opinion, and I'm not going to go super deep into this in this video, is if you are called to greatness in the sport of bodybuilding. If your goal is to be a professional bodybuilder and you love that sport, I believe that you can do it a healthier way. I think it is possible. Derek Lunsford, for example, he's the current reigning Mr. Olympia. The best bodybuilder in the world, has won the Olympia multiple times now. He's a strong Christian. He's a great guy. I've met him in person. I've talked to him. He is a solid man. He's not overly emotional. He's not over erratic. He does a very, very good job at controlling himself. But at the same time, I still question just how well can he continue to fight off against some of the things that happen when you are on gear. And I'll get into a couple of other points later in this video. So Derek Lunsford, he takes all the drugs in the book. But at the same time, like, is it truly justified even if you are pursuing greatness? And I want you to ask yourself that question as I continue to go through these other points, okay? And I also want you to understand that you have to ask yourself, are you taking drugs to compete in the sport, to participate in the sport, to do well in the sport, to achieve greatness, or are you competing so that you can justify taking drugs? You see this with people like Togi. Back in the day, towards the beginning, when we filmed a podcast, he said, yeah, dude, I'm going to step on stage and I'm going to become an IFBB pro. And I was like, really? Well, that's great. I think that if you are taking all of these steroids, you should at least be working towards something, trying to accomplish something with that. I don't think that you should just be blasting all of this gear for no reason. But that facade usually wears off pretty quickly. As soon as people figure out just how much discipline and commitment it does actually take to step on stage. All right? Most people say, oh yeah, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. But really they're just addicted to taking steroids. And their high levels of testosterone, think that they can do it, but then they realize that they actually don't have the level of discipline and consistency that they thought they did. All right? And if you are this sort of impatient person who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to hop on gear and I'm going to try to get as big as I possibly can, even though I've only been training for a couple years. If you're impatient, if you can't compete as a natural bodybuilder first, to be honest, you probably don't have any business competing in actual bodybuilding. Because even actual bodybuilding requires a ton of patience. It requires years of consistency and discipline. That's why I love the sport so much. But steroids add an entire new level of difficulty in terms of your ability to maintain your values, maintain your morals, continue to be the man that you are ultimately called to be, to maintain your body, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit. There's so many other factors that come into play when you start taking exogenous hormones. So bodybuilding really does require patience. And if you aren't willing to put that patience in, you should stay far away from the drugs. If a man has been natural and he has been bodybuilding and he has been competing and he decides that for the sake of greatness, he wants to try to become a professional bodybuilder in the NPC and a non-drug tested federation, I would say that's a lot more okay for him to do that because he understands the discipline. A lot of these people just want to take drugs. Number 5, all right? Steroids make you way too obsessed with the wrong metrics, okay? Wanting to build muscle is good. Wanting to work out every single day is good. Wanting to pay attention to your nutrition, to be able to understand how to control the way that you look is good. If you are willing to sacrifice your body, to destroy your body in order to build more muscle, that is bad. People have started taking steroids for the views and for the clout. And they try to say like, oh, I don't care about what other people think. I'm going to take steroids. Like my mom doesn't like that I'm taking steroids, but I'm going to take steroids anyway. Kind of as a way to like stick it to people. This is just what drug addiction looks like. Honestly. Like these people are like, oh yeah, I'm really sticking it to everybody else by destroying my health. Like, what are you doing? It's like the same thing that kids used to do in high school. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to smoke weed to piss everybody off. I don't care what everybody else thinks. This is a drug addiction. Like, plain and simple. And they're chasing views and clout on social media. So they're searching for affirmation from other people on social media, posting while taking a ton of gear. It's a very slippery slope. It is very easy to spiral. People become overly vain. They're not just caring about the way that they look and making sure that they're attractive to women and making sure that they're the healthiest, best, most like functional version of themselves. Now they are focusing on other factors, all right? And the main factors that you should be focusing on get left behind. Fitness is supposed to be about developing discipline and about shifting your mindset and about having consistency throughout years. And ultimately, people are poisoning the beautiful path that is natural bodybuilding and consistency with training and nutrition. And some people may say, oh, well, Togi got rich and famous from taking steroids. I refuse to believe this. I refuse to believe it. Togi is hilarious. Every single time I hang out with him, even before I knew him, or before he started posting on social media, I would hang out with him and he would make me laugh my ass off. Togi is a comedian. He always says you're not supposed to follow in his footsteps, but he is very witty. He is smart, he is funny, he is incredibly entertaining, all right? All of these things have helped him become famous. If you just decide that you're going to go blast drugs and you're not funny and you're not witty and you're not willing to make YouTube videos and stay consistent with posting content and all this type of stuff, you're not going to end up in the same situation as Togi. Like, taking gear is not ultimately what's going to get you there. If that was the case, I'd have tons of friends that were exactly in Togi's position. No, you don't hear about all of the hundreds of thousands of people that take gear and then end up in the hospital, scared for their life, with heart palpitations, with liver failure, with kidney damage. You don't hear about all these people because they're too scared to talk about it. Because they're embarrassed because they were blasting a ton of steroids, even though their health, and not even getting their blood work done. Like, that's how ignorant they were being. But you don't hear about these people. Number 6, the physical effects. You are ultimately destroying your body, all right? It's shutting down your natural production, all right? And it's defiling the purity of the temple of the Holy Spirit. And I've talked about in other videos what your body actually being the temple of the Holy Spirit truly means, because it's a very, very important concept. I want you guys, if you are watching this, to start treating your body like a whole different person, all right? Your soul is within your body, and your body is a different person. That's how I want you to treat it. I want you to take care of them. Take care of your body like you would take care of someone else. I want you to love your body like you would love somebody else. And ultimately, this would solve a lot of problems. People would start keeping the promises that they make to themselves, keeping the promises that they make to their body. I am not going to jerk off. I am not going to watch porn. I am not going to eat that. I am going to work out today. If you started treating your body like a different person, you would be in a lot better of a situation. Steroids are horrible for your heart, for your kidneys, for your liver. Blood work gets completely thrown off. It's terrible for you physically. That's just how it works. Number 7, don't let yourself fall in love with a fake version of you. I have seen this tear apart many, many people. Do you want to be loved for who you are, or do you want to be loved for a performance that you are ultimately putting on and a performance that you cannot keep up? Because this testosterone, it may make you feel like super strong and like, oh man, and I'm macho and I'm confident now. When you come off of it, you're going to be a shell of what you used to be. It's better just to stay natural, to find that confidence from within yourself, to find that masculine energy from within yourself, from your natural testosterone. Turn into a man. You don't need something else to get you there. Because what you'll notice, if you get a lot of views, if you even get some clout, if dudes even start commenting saying, yo bro, you're looking jacked, as soon as you come off of that, you're going to feel so inferior to who you were. Because now you've outperformed everything by taking something that was fake. It gave you a fake sense of who you were. And now you have to go back to being the dumbed down version of you who never learned how to be confident without sticking a needle in his ass. I find that a lot of people try to take steroids in order to escape. because they're trying to run away. They're trying to hide their insecurities. And I can speak from personal experience. When I was most tempted to take steroids, that was when I was the most insecure. It was when I was posting on social media and I was getting likes, because my abs were shredded. But at the same time, my mindset was so far gone. My mental space was such a wreck. It was terrible. I was constantly worried about what other people thought of me. And I need to look as good as I possibly can. I want to get more likes. I want to get more views. I want to get all this type of stuff. It was when I was the most insecure that steroids appealed to me the most. So I need you to do a little bit of self-reflection, all right? And I also want to make a little bit of an argument that I don't have written down on the board here, which is just the argument for your soul. I've talked many times about how in our current society, there's a war being fought for the souls of men. Well, I'm telling you, steroids don't help it, all right? Steroids don't help you in the war for the souls of men because steroids ultimately make you a much more lustful person. I talk with my friends, I talk with friends who are bodybuilders that take gear, and they're like, Brandon, I have never been more addicted to porn. I am jerking off more than ever. Some of my friends have told me they jerk off 4 to 5 times a day. They think, oh, I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to do so much more. I'm going to have this masculine energy and I'm going to be able to just work and work and work because testosterone makes hard work feel good, which is true. But at the same time, if you're taking this insane amount of testosterone, then you just spend your entire night trying to chase meaningless sex, trying to bang different girls. And that is not how you want to spend your time. That is not what you should be doing with your life. It is going to compromise your virtues. It is going to make staying in line with your values incredibly more difficult. And that will derail you as a man, and that will eat away at you from the inside. So it is going to not only compromise your physical body and your mind, but it is also going to compromise your soul. It is going to make things a lot more challenging. And that is something that you really, really have to keep in mind. And last thing that I want to say about this is that I know these people that take gear. I know them. And then I talk to them years after they've stopped taking gear, and they look back on it and they say, dude, I wish I never did it. I wish I never did it. A lot of them try to distance themselves from it. People that used to tell me, oh yeah, live 40 years as a lion or live 100 years as a sheep. They used to say that while they were blasting gear, trying to convince me to take gear. Those people now are like timid and they're like, oh yeah, I really wish that I never would have taken the gear. It probably took some years off my life. My kidneys are kind of fucked. Like they tell me that now. And I see that and I'm like, can you please tell other people that? Because everybody else is just seeing everybody that's catching the wave and getting views and glorifying steroids. They're seeing all of that, but they aren't seeing all these people with fucked up blood work who wish they could go back in time and not do it. Please understand that steroids are a trap. Be smart, build your natural physique. Your natural physique is beautiful. It's capable of so much more than you can even comprehend. Go look at my natural clients. Go look at my personal natural transformation. I'm not saying you can look exactly like me if you work out for 8 to 9 years and stay consistent with your diet and nutrition, but you're going to have a damn fucking good physique if you do. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like down below. Drop a thumbs up, singular thumbs up in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end of the video, which means that you have an awesome attention span. And I love you very much. Also drop a heart comment down below because I love you guys very much. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace.